How Kazakh people celebrate New Year's. And burn it and put your ashes into the champagne and drink the champagne while the clock is ticking. I wouldn't recommend drinking ashes. Hi guys, my name is Salta. I show life in Kazakhstan from locals' perspective, and today I wanted to share with you everything that is related to New Year traditions, what we do, how we celebrate, and what exactly happens on that night. So you might think that Christmas is celebrated in Kazakhstan, but as I shared in my other video about winter holidays in Kazakhstan, we don't really celebrate Christmas, but we do have a lot of Christmas elements in our New Year's celebration. So New Year's is the biggest holiday for Kazakh people, and it does come from Soviet times or maybe even before that. And right now it's something that is very special to everyone. It's a family tradition, it's family holiday where everybody gets together on that night and greets the new year, and that's one of the biggest celebrations and holidays throughout the year. And New Year traditionally begins on the night of December 31st, where before the new year comes, we sit down on a big festive table with a lot of amazing food where there's a feast and a lot of salads, and a lot of family comes together, they exchange gifts. As I said, there are a lot of similarities to Christmas celebration, and when it comes to New Year's in Kazakhstan, we have the New Year tree, which is like Christmas tree. We have the Father Frost, which is like Santa Claus. For Santa Claus, there isn't a female figure, but we have Father Frost and then the Snow Maiden, which is like the granddaughter of Father Frost, and they both come to families. So besides the family gathering, right before that, every company has some kind of corporate celebration where there is like Father Frost or Snow Maiden, and there's a New Year's tree, Christmas tree, whatever you want to call it, and a lot of music, a lot of food, a lot of celebration and festivities. And for kids, there's usually a morning type of celebration where there is the New Year's tree, Christmas tree again, there's some presents, and there's the Father Frost and Snow Maiden, and all of the kids come together, they perform something, they play games, they dance together. And if they don't go to that one, or usually they go to both, to the some kind of former celebration of New Year's, and sometimes the Father Frost and the Snow Maiden come to someone's houses, to someone's families, and they come with a sack of presents, and the kids are supposed to sing something, perform something, recite a poem or something, and then they are given gifts. And that's a really nice tradition, and the kids usually also believe that Snow Father or Santa Claus exists, and they send some kind of wishes, and those wishes are usually taken by parents. I mean, it's probably the same thing as in the West. So that happens before the night of 31st of December, probably on the evening somewhere. And the decorations for New Year's is usually very similar to the Christmas again, and there's the tree, and then the table usually, sometimes it gets decorated, sometimes it doesn't. But we get a lot of inspiration from the West, and I see a lot of families lately try to decorate in a similar style from Pinterest or something. When it comes to Christmas gifts, kind of a not clear subject to me. Not every family does, the exchange of gifts. Some people do, some people don't, but usually there is that kind of tradition going on, and people do exchange gifts, but not necessarily every family does that. There's also new trend among youth where we do Secret Santa, where we're assigning each other some presents, and that's something fun to do, but that's not really traditional. So as you know, the Father Frost and the Snow Maiden and the New Year's, everything comes from some kind of Slavic folklore or Slavic mythology, and I guess it came to Soviet Union, and then they didn't want to have the religious celebrations or holidays, so they just moved everything to New Year's. And when it comes to food, there are a few staples that are on the table of every household in Kazakhstan, and that also came from Soviet Union times, and a lot of post-Soviet countries do that. So we have the salad called olivia, which is kind of like potato salad, but a little more ingredients there. And then there is herring under a coat, which is really delicious also. And then there must be mandarin oranges, which is really funny, but having a box of mandarin oranges is a staple and is iconic to New Year's. And whenever you see a box of mandarin oranges, you do have that New Year's mood somehow. And so there's another thing is that you probably would have some kind of main course. That could be manti, that could be beshparmak, that could be baked duck or something, that could be anything you want, and nothing necessarily is specific to New Year's, but it's just something very big and tasty, something that's going to serve all of the guests you have. There's usually like fried chicken as like appetizer or something, so that can be whatever you like, but the tables are usually so full and there's like a feast going on. And the very last must-have for New Year's is champagne, and it's called Soviet champagne. It's not really good, but it's something that is associated with New Year's, so everybody usually gets that just to like pop it up when New Year comes. So right before New Year comes at like midnight, usually the families sit together and they see off the old New Year. They thank everything that happened in the past year, and then they sit down and wait for the president to give his speech, and usually the president congratulates all of the family, and that's tradition that also came from Soviet Union, I believe, because that happens in Russia too. So the president just says his celebrations, his greetings, whatever well wishes he has for everyone in the country, and then right when he finishes his talk, the clock starts ticking to like 10 seconds before midnight and before New Year's. And so everybody starts to like scream and shout and like pour champagne. And right before that, actually, there is a funny tradition that not everybody does, but everybody knows about that. You're supposed to write down your wishes on a paper and burn it and put your ashes into the champagne and drink the champagne while the clock is ticking. So while like the 10 seconds before the midnight comes. And that's very funny. I'm not sure if it's like, if anything of that is true, if any wishes come true, but that's very interesting, and it's just fun, I guess. Some people do that, but I haven't done that, and I wouldn't recommend drinking ashes. But yeah, it's really fun. And then when the clock ticks and when New Year's come, everybody like starts cheering and starts drinking champagne. And when the New Year comes, right, like at midnight, they start the fireworks, the salutes, and everybody's like watching the fireworks from their windows because you can see them anywhere in the city. And that happens probably for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or so. And some people randomly like put the fireworks throughout the night. But once that happens, usually there's like concerts on the screen. There's like all the different, festive concerts going on TV channels. And people like sit down, continue eating, and watch those concerts. Usually January 1st and 2nd afterwards are days off and nobody works. They're festive, people still celebrate, people still like go out and drink. And by the way, if you think that because we're a Muslim country we don't drink alcohol, that's not true, because not everyone is Muslim, first of all, but second of all, we're not as strict and we don't observe Islam as it is observed in other countries. So you will be, so don't be surprised if you see people drinking alcohol, or as I went to the supermarket and showed you the aisle of alcohol. That's pretty typical and normal here. If you like this video, here's another video that you might like. And yeah, thank you for watching. This was everything that I wanted to share with you about New Year traditions. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.